He's Derek.
Don't you think that life should be gay and gay and gay and gay and gay and gay and gay?
She's Romaine.
DerekandRomaine.com. So fucking convenient. It's on demand. It's right there when you need it, when you want it. There it is.
This is Derek and Romaine.
2.0, bitches.
All right, welcome everybody. This is Romaine, and we are here on the Norwegian Bliss. We're on the final day of our Mexican Riviera cruise. And I think for the first time ever, I am hosting the Listener Roundtable. You know, usually when Listener Roundtable happens, I'm sitting over in the corner, working the mixer and doing all that crap. And I always want to break in and interrupt when, you know, Katie or Adam from Sissy Town is hosting these Listener Roundtables. I always have lots of things to say. But today I actually get to manage the chaos. And there has been some chaos on this trip. So we are going to talk about all of that and more. But before we do that, I am going to introduce my panel of listeners that I have here. Derek says it's a sausage factory. Sorry, Bridget. But let's start to my left. First up, we have Joey. Joey, hello. Welcome.
Hi, Romaine. Hi, everybody.
Now, how long have you been listening to the show?
12 years.
12 years. Is this your first cruise?
Very first cruise.
How?
The DNR and first cruise.
Oh, ever.
Ever.
How do you like it?
It's been a blast.
Yeah, it's a very good time. Has it met your expectations? Not met your expectations? How are Derek and Romaine?
Exceeded my expectations.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I feel good about that.
But I also came in with, no offense against anybody, I came in with low expectations.
That's the best approach. Low expectations, I think, sets you up for success.
Yes.
Success. You'd think I was still drunk from yesterday. Anyway. Okay, well, Joey, welcome to the Listener Roundtable.
Thank you.
Up next, we have, well, I'll just let you sing your song.
It's little old Larry in Pasadena, now Westlake, LA.
Well, little old Larry.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you on this fine day?
I'm good. I'm
now,
awake.
this is your first Derek and Romaine cruise.
And my first cruise ever, yes.
Wow, I am sensing a trend here.
I bought credits.
Good for you. That's what I like to hear. That means he'll be back for people at home. All right, so Larry, your first cruise with DNR.
Yep.
I know you've wanted to cruise with us for a while.
Yep.
How is it?
Oh, it's been fantastic.
Yeah?
I've loved every moment of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you gotten laid?
Huh?
I said, have you gotten laid? Yeah, they don't expect this. So this is the best kind of Listener Roundtable when there's questions they don't expect.
I do have to preamble something, if I may.
You may.
So everyone on the ship has met DeRay probably by now.
Yes, lovely young man.
He's still in bed. He wanted me to just clarify that he is 41, not 21,
Okay.
and that I am not a chicken hawk.
So the answer to my question is yes.
Oh, yes,
Okay,
there was
good,
a
good,
question.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. All right, no, that's fine, that's fine. All right, let's move on to the next person on my panel. This is Sebastian. Hi, Sebastian.
Hey, Romaine.
I like your bear shirt and matching hat.
Thank you.
Are you advertising something here?
No.
Bear hugs?
Bears, yes.
Bear snuggles?
Yes.
All of the above.
All the
Okay.
above can happen.
Now, how many cruises have you been on? Any before this?
24.
24?
Yes.
Cruises in general?
In general.
How many DNR cruises?
Number one.
This is the first?
Yes.
So you cruise a lot, and then you just thought, you know what? I should
Maybe I'll give
do
them a try.
this.
Yeah.
How has it met your expectations?
It is very much met my expectations.
Yeah.
As we've talked to, like, my husband and I do tons of bear events throughout the
Yeah.
country. So this is uniquely different for
Sure.
a gay event than the other events that we normally go to that are
Oh, I went on a bear cruise. I know what they're like.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. So you feel me.
Just saying.
So this is kind of nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cruise you can take your family to.
It is.
Yes.
I have. I didn't this time, but I normally, well, no, not even normally. Once in a while, I take my family.
Yes.
So not as much fucking as you're used to.
Definitely, that's a little bit more low key.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, will you be joining us on our bear cruise next year?
Perhaps.
Out of Tampa.
I did get the credits, so I
Yeah?
have been really sucked into the cult now.
Yeah,
so yes.
that's what we like it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad you joined us for your
Thank you.
25th cruise.
Thank you.
All right, let's move along. Next, we have Travie Trav. Now, Travie Trav, I went out to dinner with you on the first night.
Yeah.
And you were quite entertaining.
Thank you.
How many cruises is this now for
This
you
is
with
my
DNR?
second.
This is your second
Yeah,
cruise.
it's second cruise
I
in
would have
general.
thought he'd been on at least a dozen.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll take
Your
that.
familiarity with the group really said, oh, I've done this before.
Yeah.
Many times.
I'm fun.
Yeah. You are fun. Now, you live where?
Indianapolis.
And how many, would you say it's a big gay community there or no?
Bigger than you would expect, but
Yeah.
like not as big as it was in like Bloomington when I was going to IU.
Yeah. So would
yeah.
you say that our little gay group is more accepting and loving than it is there or
Oh my
less?
God, yeah. A lot more accepting.
And did you get laid?
Can't tell that.
That's a yes. Okay. When they won't say, that is a big whopping many times. Okay. Well, let's move on to our lady in the sausage factory, Bridget, who probably is more manly than all of you fags. But we'll leave that. So, Bridget, hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Now, I know this is not your first DNR cruise.
This is number 5.
No, did you get your pin?
Yes, I did.
Oh, good. All right. We have pins for people who've come 5 times, 10 times, not just in a sexual way. Okay. So, Bridget, how has the cruise been for you?
It's been very relaxing. I got a lovely studio cabin for the first time to see what that was like. I highly recommend it.
For single travelers, yeah.
For single travelers, or not single travelers. But,
Oh, okay. Now, I hear something interesting happened related to you. I heard that one of our listeners that you've spent some time with had a dream about you of a kind of sexual nature.
yeah, I've been calling her the pillow biter.
Right. She woke up literally biting her pillow. How do you feel about that?
Well, she's afraid of me anyway, so it just adds to the fun.
Oh, okay. Well, Catherine, we all know now what you dream about. All right. So up next, we have someone who calls into the show quite a lot, but this is your first time cruising. It is Christian from Abilene. Hi.
Hello.
Now, how has the first cruise for you been like?
Much like some others have said.
So you got laid? No, I'm kidding.
Upon the advice of counsel, I declined to answer it this time.
That's fair. That's fair and valid. So you're having a good time?
I had a great time. It exceeded my expectations.
Who were you the most excited to meet on the cruise?
I don't know if I was excited to meet anybody. I was just open to, I was really trying to keep myself open, like low expectations.
Right.
But not in a bad way. Just let me see what happens. Let me see where the experience takes me.
And where has it taken you?
Many places.
That says to me many cabins.
No,
really? No?
Incorrect.
No? Okay.
No,
All right.
don't
Okay.
make assumptions.
I won't. Okay. All right. So here on the panel, we have at least 2 callers that call in regularly. So I thought we would talk about something a little controversial on our show. Something that we don't talk about because we don't want to hurt feelings or make people feel bad. But let's talk about the callers. So once upon a time, Derek used to manage the callers that called into the show. And when he got annoyed, he would just hang up on them and the dial tone happened. And then we started our own business and it was kind of rude to hang up on people because, you know, we need their money to keep our business alive. And so we kind of stopped hanging up on people who were annoying. And then we added things like the countdown timer to tell people to shut the fuck up. Or sometimes now I'll just fade people out very slowly and they don't even realize it's happening. That's my favorite, by the way. And so, you know, we do a lot of different things to try to wrap that shit up in a timely manner, but it doesn't always work. So here is my question for the table. You're all listeners. Some of you are callers. What do you think makes a good call and what makes a shitty call? Oh, this is, see, they're always like, I'm on the hot seat. What am I going to say? Joe, you're ready. Let's go.
I wish I hate when you start up a topic and then right away somebody calls in and wants to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
Of course, Billy from Philly, everyone's favorite.
Oh, Trav is like, oh no, I like
Whose
Billy.
whose favorite 2 words are I, me.
Yeah.
Shade bell?
And
Yeah, Derek, where's the shade bell? We need it for this session.
congrats, you've made $100,000. That's great. And you buy a lot of vehicles for your relatives. Okay, what else? I mean...
Well, we read his mail and his mind often.
There's
I've
mail
learned
too?
that. We are reading his mail. We are reading his mind. We know exactly what he wants to call in and talk about every day, 5 times a day. Okay, Larry, what do you think makes a good call and what makes a bad call?
I think coming up with a single topic and trying to stick with it. I will say one of my...
Well, they've learned from Derek.
Well, in Billy's defense,
Yeah.
when he does call, he will call on the topic and somehow how it relates to him, which then veers into a different story off of a different topic. But at least he tried. And I do like his
Yes.
calls, but I appreciate the fade.
Okay.
But I know for me as a time shifter, sometimes I almost don't want you to pick up my call when I do call because I'm not currently listening live and I don't want to derail the conversation, but it's hard to figure that balance out. But
So what I have learned having run the calls is that a lot of people will call right at the top of that second hour when we're doing the hookers. Because if you're going to call off topic, that's a great time to do it because chances are we're just commenting on whatever the dumb hooker was that we just listened to. So I didn't mean that in a shady way. I really didn't.
As somebody who only calls the hooker hotline, I take no offense.
Sorry. But, I always think that's the time to call if you're going to call in with a totally off-topic conversation. Because I agree with both of you. I think that when Derek and I are in a flow, and then all of a sudden the brakes get hit, and we have to go into this whole other direction, I'm like, God damn it, there were things I wanted to say about that other thing, and then I don't get to. And then Derek says I don't talk enough. So that's a problem. All right. Yes, Christian.
I only time shift because you guys are live because of my weird work hours. You're live when I'm getting ready for work and starting my night at work. So I only time shift. And so when I'm going to make a phone call or call the hooker hotline, I always think to myself, okay, make sure I haven't told this story before. Not that we're not used to somebody always repeating stories, but,
How dare you? He feels attacked.
But, I also is this really worth the phone call? Is this worth, taking time in the show to take time up for the listeners and whatever, make sure it's at least semi-interesting. And I'm always trying to comment on something that you have specifically talked about.
Right.
So
I appreciate those calls, actually.
I try to think through it before I make the phone call. And sometimes it's not worth it. And I say, and next time.
All right, fair. Anyone else have anything? Oh, Trav, yes.
I will say, what makes a really good caller is everything Stanton and Austin does. I feel like I really miss him calling because I love him.
I agree. I love Stanton's calls.
I will say I do worry a lot about Billy and Philly's gambling problem. A lot about it.
Valid.
But
him and I worry about Mark from Minnesota's consumption of drugs and alcohol.
Yeah. But no, I wish Stanton would call more. That's what makes a good call. Yeah.
I think a lot of people miss Stanton's call. I hope Stanton is listening and calls in more. Yes, Bridget.
And to kind of on the same note, when someone calls and artfully shames somebody, or shades, excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's the best.
I do like an artful shade
my God.
on the show or in real life.
Mm-hmm. We have some real artisans out there. Please
We do.
Call more.
All right, so going along the lines of these callers, so when we came out, with one of the listeners sent over the timer for the calls. You get a knock on the door, you get a doorbell, and then it's like, get the fuck out, right? So people really found that annoying. A lot of people are like, how could you guys do that? What if it's a good caller? Well, what they don't realize is that sometimes I will turn it off. I'll start it, and then I'll be like, oh, this is a good caller. So I'll pause it, and if their call goes sideways, I turn it back on. Sometimes I don't play it at all. Sometimes if I know it's a caller that I'm going to want to play out, I'm going to play it for sure. But people were upset when we first started doing this. So I want to know from you guys as listeners, do you think that we should enforce the rules more often?
Yes.
And let me just remind you of some of the rules that we have. A call should be no longer than 2 minutes. It should be on topic. There should be no double dips, although sometimes it's double, triple, quadruple. And here's an important one. Don't be in a loud-ass fucking environment when you call our show. And we all know who's guilty of that. So What do you think? Should we enforce them more? Are we fine the way we are? Yes, Larry.
I think it really depends on the caller. And I think because it's your show, you guys get to use the discretion. Because there are times where a caller is calling in and it actually starts a dialogue between the caller and the two of you.
Sure.
And there's no reason that shouldn't continue because it's gone over 2 minutes. But I think it's your call, whether you cut them off, keep them going, and it's not up to us.
Yes, Sebastian.
I'm all about the rules. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I think exactly that. I think if you just decide you guys know what's good radio and what's not, right?
Sometimes.
And especially like if you guys start a huge dialogue into someone's 2 minutes, like making sure that they have time to finish their thoughts and stuff like that, which I think you guys do most of the time. But yeah, there are some people that 30 seconds would be good.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Anyone else? So I know you're gonna jump in a second. Here's a question I have. Have you noticed the times when certain callers call in and both Derek and I take a nap?
Yes.
And then the call ends and we're like, okay, well that was a call. Because we have no idea what was said because we literally are like, oh, he called. We can just take a 2-minute kitty cat nap over here, regroup. Oh no, Derek, don't act innocent. I see he's like, I don't do that. You 100% do that. So yeah.
Who's logging the show while the show is going on? Me.
Yeah.
When that call happens, I have to put that call into the description of the episode. So, unfortunately, I do have to listen to the call.
But then you don't know how to respond to it.
I don't get to kitty cat nap and then forget we have a timer. Okay, thank you.
I totally kitty cat nap.
Anyway, I'm also in the room. But once I get the gist, then I can shut down. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Like I said. Okay, all right. All right. Next question. So this has been a topic of conversation lately on the show. And some listeners have taken to trying to figure it out. So this is a very simple question. How many cats do you think I have?
6.
6. Joey?
7.
7. Larry?
Well, I guess 8 at dinner the other night, and I was wrong. So I'm actually going to lean back toward the 6, and I suspect that number may increase in time.
Chances of that are high. Travi, how many cats do you think I have?
I feel like you don't even actually know the number.
I do actually know the number.
What the mystery's all about.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
It always changes. Some days it's 2, some days it's 22 or 13. Bridget, how many cats do you think I have?
I'm going to go with 7.
Okay.
48.
It's a great guess. It's a really good guess. You're close, actually. I'm not going to tell you how many cats I have, but I will say this. I've been talking a lot about wanting a Maine Coon for my birthday, and I did tell my wife that if she did not get me one for Christmas, that I would be getting one for my birthday. Well, my Maine Coon will not be here for my birthday, but it is on its way. So that is a good thing. Thank you. I'm very excited. His name will be Mr. Big for people who are trying to track the names. Okay. Let's talk about the guest host. So sometimes Derek is out of town. He goes on a lot of free cruises. Sometimes I go out of town because my wife or child forced me to do something with them. It's annoying. But every once in a while, we will bring in guest hosts. And we will also do takeover shows. Like a lot of times when we do the cruises, we'll have some of the other show hosts come and do a takeover. So I want to hear your thoughts on who you like as guest hosts, who you hate as a guest host, who starts out horrible and maybe gets better as a guest co-host. I'm talking about Romy. I want to hear your thoughts on that and what you think of the takeover shows. Yeah, Sebastian.
Well, I really like it when Romy's on. I think she's a very well-spoken young adult, and that probably has a lot to do with her parents. But I love AJ a lot, and I'm a big fan of Ralphie too.
Okay, all right.
One of my favorites has always been Adam from Scruffy Town. However,
There's a however.
the very last time he co-hosted when Derek was on his
free cruise.
Yeah, the free cruise.
Like the third or fourth one.
Yeah, exactly. I called the hooker hotline, and right before me, Sherry from Texas had called the hooker hotline, and he just loved Sherry's call. He was like fawning all over Sherry.
Well, I do love Sherry's calls.
Yeah, they're great. They're
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
I love Sherry. She's a fantastic. And then my call was after that, which was a lower key call. And he said, that was no Sherry in Texas. And I said, well,
Ouch.
fuck you, Adam from Every Down. You are no longer my favorite guest host.
Oh, okay.
So, no, he's off the list.
Oh, you two are fighting.
Yes, and he
Okay.
doesn't even know it, but yes.
He and I are fighting a lot like that all the time, so I understand. Who else wants to? Joey, yeah.
AJ, I love the dynamic between Derek and AJ. Also, Adam Sank.
Oh, yeah, I love Adam.
Have him more.
Yeah.
But I don't know
Well,
if
he's
his
a
schedule.
very busy man.
Yeah, I don't know if his schedule
Yeah.
would help with that.
And
but-
it's hard to make him commit to things. It's kind of like head of lettuce. Anyway. Did I say that out loud? I did find her, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, no, we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, Larry.
I also like JB. He's just nice energy when he's even just
Yeah.
in the room and not co-hosting. But I will say one thing about Adam from Scruffy Town that I really enjoy is that being a listener and being kind of a friend of the two of you, he knows the show well.
Yes.
And he works well as a co-host with either one of you. So it really feels kind of seamless when he's there that the show's in good hands.
Yeah, I will say, with Adam from Sissy Town, what I love about him is it is like hosting the show with another radio show host because he understands the flow of the show, and I don't feel like I have to do all the work. Like, he'll be like, okay, let's talk about this topic, and he kind of tries to control the conversation a little bit. I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's great. I love that.
Do you remember, this was back when you guys were still at Sirius, and Derek had Bianca Del Rio and Lady Bunny, who was out of her goddamn mind. I want that energy back.
Yeah, okay. Well, in order to have that kind of energy back, they have to be high on drugs. So, I mean, I've done a lot of shows with people who are high on drugs, and sometimes it works. Most of the time, it's just a fucking hot mess. Yes,
I'd like
Bridget?
to put in a request for your neighbors to co-host sometime.
Oh, Brian and Christy.
Yes, please.
Now, can I tell you, Brian has been begging to co-host the show because he's an egomaniac like me. But that's actually a great request, and I will see if I can accommodate that.
Please do.
I mean, I'm a little afraid of trying, because here's what's going to happen. I just want to paint the picture. So when Brian is having a bad day, he'll send me a text message that'll say, I'm on my way over. And it could be any time of day. It could be 9 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 8 o'clock at night. And I get a knock at the studio door. I open it, and he's there with a bottle of whiskey and a glass. One glass, not 2 glasses, just the one. And then he will sit down, and he will proceed to drink that bottle of whiskey and talk to me about whatever's on his mind.
This sounds brilliant already.
Yeah. Now, here's what's going to happen if I invite both of them over. There will be a knock at my door. And then I will open the door, and there will be Brian with a bottle of whiskey and a glass. And there will be Christy with a bottle of whiskey and a mug. And then I'm going to sit down for 2 hours with them. And anyone who has ever had drinks with them will know, in 2 hours, a lot can happen. A lot. Sometimes I see things I don't want to see. Boobs come out. Things happen. Things happen. And then I would send Brian home, as I have done many times in his drunken state, and a chicken could die because he could fall down on it. I mean, these are all things that have actually happened. So I could do it, but I have to prepare myself, I think, for something like that. It'd be scary.
Maybe it's time for a pay-per-view component to your show. I don't know.
Maybe. All right. So, yeah, I like that idea of bringing Brian and Christy. Brian has also been begging to be on the Dildo Whisperer show. And I will say, for people who love AJ, if you think you love AJ on Derek and Romaine, I live for AJ on the Dildo Whisperer, because AJ is a super macho straight guy, thinks he's all that and a bag of chips when it comes to sex. He's got a big penis, so he's like, oh, you know. But the very first thing I do in every single episode he's on, within 2 minutes of the show starting, is I ask him a question about whatever the topic is of the day. And I like to watch him squirm. If it is a topic about a butthole, I mean, his is clenched so tight. And he starts to giggle sometimes, and he can't give me a straight answer. I recently, on one of the shows that's coming up, Anatomy of a Vagina, I gave him 2 graphics, and I asked him to label the parts of the vagina. And, oh boy. He, of 2 pages of answers, he got, I think, 1 right. And I'm like, well, you're not as good at sex as you think you are. He thought the urethra was the bullseye. I'm like, if you think that's the bullseye, you are putting it in the wrong hole. So anyway, it was, he's very fun on that show. I love making him squirm. I like asking him lots of hard questions that he cannot answer. It is quite delightful, actually. I love AJ. All right, let's see. Where do I want to go next? I was going to ask you about the takeover shows. Have any of you guys listened to the takeover shows? Which ones do you like the best, and who should I never put on a show again, ever?
I like Dildo Whisperer.
Yep.
And I like Cookie Jar.
Okay. All right. And the rest of you? Yes, Larry?
I love Cookie Jar and OJ and B.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Christian?
Usually those are when y'all are on cruises or when those happen, obviously. And that's usually my catch-up time. And
so you're like, fuck this, I'm not even listening?
Well, if I'm not caught up by the time you get back and I don't get to the takeover shows, they just get deleted.
Oh.
Sorry.
No, I think that's fine.
That's
fine. Now, do you guys... Yeah, Bridget?
As a former Ass listener, I love it when Adam sings on.
Yes, again, if I could only get him committed to some time slots. But he listens, so maybe he'll hear this and say yes. He did try to get an episode recorded around Christmas, but I was unable to make it happen.
I also like when you test drive potential new shows for the network, because that's great to hear what is on the horizon.
Yeah. Now, have any of you guys listened to our newest show, Minority Report? Oh, Joey, yes?
Yes, I have. And I liked it. I'm not a big fan of the Cookie Jar.
No, well, it's a lot of hot nonsense.
Yeah, it's a lot of nonsense.
And by nonsense, I mean a lot of hot garbage. I say with love because I love all those guys. But yes, they are great. In some ways, what the Cookie Jar reminds me of is the very, very early days of Derek and Romaine, when we were just fucking crazy. And crazy shit happened in our studio every day. And it was like, what the fuck are we doing? And that 4th hour, that could be a lot like the Cookie Jar. When we ran out of shit to talk about, and then it just, shit went crazy. That's something. Yeah. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the DNRCast app. So this is something that Derek in particular has been working on for a couple of years now. He's been working with our various tech interns and Arafat to develop this app. And it's funny because as we've been making changes to it very recently, I keep going back to the very first days of DNR 2.0, when the website was crashing, when we weren't even sure how the fuck to get it so you guys could listen to the show. Like, we were crashing and burning every 2 seconds. And now I think about where we're at now with things like the DNRCast app, and it is a night and day difference for the user experience. It's completely changed. Now you can get all the shows in one place. You can get your gay news. You can do all these great things. You can push one button, call into the show. You can go into the chat. So I'm curious, do any of you use the app yet? Sebastian?
Yes.
And
I just started with the... I think it's fantastic. So I'm glad that it's finally for just the DNR folks.
Yep.
Although I'm thinking after this cruise we'll be doing network, because I'm still just utterly impressed on the two of you and what you've created over the last few years, starting with websites crashing to now having this gay network with all these shows is just amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, and I give a lot of credit. I give a lot of credit to Derek on this one because he really had a vision for what he wanted the app to be, and he's kind of helped direct these interns and made it happen. And I think the app is actually one of the coolest things we have now. I'm super excited that just the Derek and Romaine listeners can use it. And I think once they start using it, they're going to see all the things that they can't use yet until they go up to the DNR Plus. And then they're going to be like, oh, but I want to listen to that show. Or, oh, well, that looks like an interesting component in the app I want to be able to use. So I do think that it will. It might be our marketing play. We're horrible at marketing, Derek and I, but this is one area where we're trying to improve. Anyone else use the app? Yes, Trevi.
I'm going to download it immediately when I get off the show.
You should. I've been using it for a while because we've been beta testing it now for a couple of years, and I absolutely fucking love it. I just think it's super awesome.
It's great for the chat room if you're listening live. It's just boom right there.
Yeah, I think that's a great component of it. And I know we're working on making the chat even better. That is something we're actively working on.
I had just gotten to the show where y'all had announced that the DNR only subscribers could go right before the cruise started.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, when I get back, because I'm one of those old passwords from. So I was like, I need to update that so I don't have those issues.
Yeah.
And then I plan to start.
Yeah,
using
I think you guys are going to be really impressed. I mean, and to think that we've done it with mostly interns is fucking wild. But it just goes to show how one of the things we really pride ourselves on is finding the smartest people out there and surrounding ourselves with them, and so they can make us look good. That is a Derek and Romaine skill set that we have. All right, so what would you like to see added for people who have tried it? Would you like to see anything added to the app?
I don't think I can say yes or no yet because so far it seems to be working how I would want it to. So
Yeah. Any new kinds of shows you would be interested in?
I really like it when you guys do kind of talk about what's happening out there in the world and the politics, things like that. So maybe
a political
Derek
show.
even doing his own little political show or something like that would be cool.
I agree. I agree with that. I would love to see that. I would love that.
The other night at dinner, I asked you to, could you tell me all the different shows that are on the network? Because I think I know all of them, but I'm not sure because y'all talk about them enough. And that led into a conversation about how you and Derek have made a concerted effort to have a broad array of voices on the network. And that's something I find very, very appealing, because our community is very varied and different, and I like that you are making that effort to put those different voices out there in the world for the rest of us.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Derek and I, when we were at the old facility, we both shared this frustration with the old company because all of the shows, when they first launched, they were all middle-aged white guy shows, and a lot of them were political and not very entertainment focused or lifestyle focused, we'll say, and we always wanted and expected more, and they didn't really want to do that. And so for us, when we went out, we really thought, well, what other kind of voices can we find and make available to the listeners that they might want to hear? And there are some voices that I'm still chasing. I would love to find a show that is hosted by someone transgendered. I think that would be incredible. I think gender identity is such a misunderstood thing in our society, especially even in the gay community. So I think it would be really great to find a show like that.
If you could get Charlotte Clymer.
I don't know who Charlotte Clymer is.
I might be saying her name wrong, but she's on the socials. She's brilliant politically.
Well, you should send me an email. Maybe I'll reach out to her. But yeah, we're always looking for that. We're always looking for younger voices or people of color or whatever it is. But women's voices is a big one for both Derek and I. And that's very, very important to our mission in terms of what we try to do with the actual content of the shows on the app. We're trying to really curate something diverse because we need it. And there's a lot of different types of gay people out there, and we want to find something kind of for everybody. All right. If you could meet one listener from the show, one listener, one caller, maybe even a DNR crew member that you haven't met yet, who would you want to meet and why? Oh, Joey's jumping.
I was disappointed that Tony wasn't going to be on this cruise for the simple reason, being a new person to DNR Cruises, I've heard him say multiple times, he doesn't care about all the regulars. He wants to focus on the new folks.
Yes.
And
he's not the only one like that. There are actually quite a few of our regular cruisers who cruise a lot with us who really love meeting the new people. And I always see them on day one. I know Catherine from Arizona. Was it you, Christian, that she took under her wing?
Yes, when we were at the hotel, the host hotel, getting ready to, we were waiting for the shuttle to come to the ship. And there was a shuttle that was ready early. There was a group of 15, 17 of us down in the lobby. And we were scheduled for the 10 o'clock shuttle, and the guy was like, "Go! There's a 9:30. Go! Y'all go!" And we got on board, and Catherine immediately introduced herself, and I said, "Yeah, I'm a first-time cruiser," and she just literally took me by the arm and walked me through the whole getting on board process, and because I would have been so lost. And I told her I was deeply appreciative of that. I was when I saw the crowds, I was like, if I'd had to manage this on my own, I don't know what I would have done. So I was deeply grateful. She got me on board. Bridget and her and I sat down and we had lunch together. And then she was like, "Go, fly, be gay, go." and I just really appreciate that. It was a very positive first step experience, just getting onto the ship like that.
Nice.
I really want to meet Stanton in Austin because I feel like he would be able to roast me, like just for funsies.
Yeah, he would. That's a good one. Yeah.
There were a few people I wanted to meet, and I have. Catherine was one. Hi, Catherine. There was a voice of a caller who, whenever they called in, I went, "Ooh, I like that voice. I'd like to meet him." Hi, Tyler. And I'm still waiting for Adam from Scruffy Town for the same reason. I like his voice.
Yep. All right. Sebastian.
I would love to meet AJ because he seems like he would just be a blast to hang out with.
He would be.
Yeah. And Ralphie.
But AJ would gay bait the shit out of you fuckers. I'm just going to say it right now. He'd start shaking his ass at you, calling you sweetheart, putting his arm around you.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
You say this as if it's an issue.
It is. I mean, it might be an issue for his wife. But
right, maybe. But I was actually really excited to meet Larry because we're neighbors. We're from Glendale. So, and then I was Tyler too. He does have a wonderful voice.
Oh, Tyler, you're getting so much love. We call her Ariel now. Okay. Anyone else have anyone else that they really were looking forward to meeting? Yes, Christian?
I don't remember who told me the story, but they said that when Katie is on the cruises, that she brings a very different energy
to the nightlife.
I was just in general, but yeah, very different energy, a positive, a good one. So that was something I hope to witness from afar and maybe be careful about getting wrapped up in. But that would be somebody I would be looking forward to in a future cruise.
Well, I actually am going to answer my own question. So there was someone on this trip that I was very excited to meet, someone I've heard about for quite a while, and that is Derek's sister. First of all, I've heard a lot about her, and she's lovely in more ways than one. Just leave it at that. She is quite easy on the eyes. And her husband's not bad either, if you've been paying any attention. No, that has been actually a real pleasure getting... Oh, yeah, yes, we did. That was found, don't worry.
In the stateroom, or...?
Like my friend Christian here, I plead the fifth. My goodness.
Can I just jump in really quick about Laura and Fred? So we were at the pool yesterday, and I was 3 sheets to the wind already.
Yeah, we know.
They both walked by, and I was like, "Oh my God, they're so fucking hot!" And then it was Laura and Fred, and I didn't know who it was, and ended up getting more wasted with them. So.
Now here's the real question I have: did Fred let you touch his abs?
Not the abs.
You should try it. Wait, here he comes. Those are some nice abs. Yeah. My favorite Fred moment was him dancing around the dance floor all night long. And then when he would turn to Laura and he would just start to lift his shirt and run his fingers over his abs, trying to entice her to I don't know what. But it was working for everyone in the room, I'm pretty sure. Except for maybe Laura. I don't know. All right, so because this is the listener roundtable, this is your chance to tell Derek and Romaine or the audience anything you want. What is something you would want to tell Derek and Romaine that maybe you haven't before because you haven't had the opportunity or you were scared? Here's your moment. I won't judge you harshly, You have free pass to say anything to us you would like to say. Good, bad, whatever. What would you like to say to us?
So as a little gay boy at like 14 years old in Fairland, Indiana, I came across your guys' show one day when my papa had first put like his, like, it was when Sirius XM was like still those little boxes that you had to like plug into the thing.
Oh, yeah.
And so I found you guys and like, I was like, oh my God, like there are people like me out there. And I just want to thank you guys for that, because that was really cool.
Yeah, I think this is one of the things that Sirius XM never understood about what they had in OutQ, is that the channel was more than just a bunch of radio show hosts doing shows. We were like a community center where people who didn't have a community where they were at suddenly did, and a place where they felt they belonged. And I think that this was the biggest misstep they had in not recognizing that fact. What about the rest of you? Anyone else have things you want to say to us? Sebastian.
I mean, I wasn't a youngster like this one when he found you. Sorry. But yeah, I've like maybe like a month after XM and Sirius, because I was an XM person, they merged. I found you guys and found the station as a whole. And your show was absolutely the show I gravitated to the most. But it was just so valuable. But then to find out, I didn't realize like at the very beginning what Romaine it was, and then when I discovered that, I was just like really excited to kind of know the story of your story, to see that somehow you found where you needed to be to continue the talk that needed to happen. And in our conversation the other evening, how you just were like talking about how you knew that this was meant, and it makes my heart whole knowing all the good things that you've done. Thank you. So it's been a pleasure meeting you more personally.
Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you.
And so, yeah. And then you guys are funny as shit, and that also helps.
Yes, it does. Larry.
I actually came to Sirius because of Howard Stern, because I was a regular listener, and I went to Sirius. I think your show was the first one that I heard outside of Howard, and I started listening to it regularly. I will confess something here. I hated Romaine. She was so annoying to me. And she really didn't feel like she cared about the show, wasn't participating in the show.
True at times.
I loved Derek. Derek was great.
Am I filming this?
Yes.
When they got fired from Sirius, or let go because Andy Cohen was taking over slowly, I started following both their periscopes. Derek was constantly doing periscopes. Romaine taught me how to put fondant on a cake.
I didn't know I did that.
It was somebody's birthday, I think.
Sure.
Maybe Romy's, and you did I'm going to film this. And
Oh, I don't remember that.
when 2.0 started, I actually canceled Sirius because I was done with Howard, stuck with these two, and fell in love with Romaine really hard, because she has been so hard. She has really...
I came out of a cloud of depression.
I was going to say stepped up your game, but I didn't want it to sound that way.
The last 2 years of Sirius, I can say it now, I was very depressed. That place fucking brought me to my knees. And once we started 2.0, I just felt like a whole new person.
It's truly a mutual love fest now, because the two of you just interact so well, and you're so much better now than you ever were on Sirius, and it's wonderful.
Well, thank you. You know, you're like my wife. So when Iris first came to meet Derek and Romaine, she loved Derek. She thought Derek was just the greatest thing ever. As he goes around blowing kisses to the audience. And she thought I was the most obnoxious thing that ever lived. Again, she's not wrong. But once I turned on my charm, I had her. Wasn't hard. But yeah, so yes, this does happen. Usually lesbians hate me. And they really hated me until I had a child, and then all of a sudden they decided they liked me. I don't know what happened. maybe I softened a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, lots of people hate me at first. It's not unheard of. It's actually quite common.
Well, I've been listening to you for about 12 years, and you've been with me through some major life changes. And I've probably said this before, but living in a rural area, being a blue twat in a sea of red assholes.
Yeah.
You're my community. You helped me travel solo after a divorce, and you've been there. It's not just a show. I don't want to be cliche, but it's a cult.
It's not a cult. I think of it as a family. I think, the listeners, they really care about each other, and I see it all the time. I've seen it over the years in some minor ways. I've seen it in major ways, the way listeners have come together and helped people when they really needed it. It's the most beautiful thing about this community, I think. And, every once in a while, Derek and I will look at each other and be like, how the fuck did we do this?
I'm going to repeat a story that I told at dinner the other night. Since we're used to host repeating stories. But...
There's Derek again. Yeah.
Pre-2009, my commute to work was very, very short. So I was very much an in and out listener, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, just very, very little bits. But in 2009, I was laid off during the whole economic meltdown, and I moved from near Houston to Abilene, where I still live today. And when I went to Abilene, I knew no one. The closest family was 2 hours away. I had no social network whatsoever. And so you guys started to become my community because I was like, I need something. I need something to be attached to. And when y'all went off on your own, I was like, bye Sirius XM. See y'all later. And the thing for me in the last few years where the show has really made a difference, it's something that, it's a comment that Derek has made a few times over the years. About how when you get invited to things and you keep saying no, eventually people stop inviting you. And I kind of took that from a bigger perspective because my job is somewhat isolating, and when I interact with people at work, I interact with them from a position of authority, so it's not a place where I build a lot of friendships. And I work at night, I sleep during the day. I don't have a lot of opportunities to build that social network. And so I took that concept of what he was talking about, and I said, how can I be more involved? At some point, somebody in the community who I did know put me in this Facebook group of a dinner group of gay men in Abilene. And I was always getting invited to go, but I never went. And I thought, I'm going to start going. And so that's what I did. They said, we're going to dinner at so-and-so Saturday at 6. If you want to go, let us know. So we have a number. And I was like, I don't know anybody, but I'm going. And now I've built a network of friends out of that group. And so the next step in that for me was I'd always wanted to do a cruise. And so I was like, okay. Well, during the pandemic, when things were starting to open back up and your cruise was starting to get going again, I said, now's the time. And it was just a matter of finding the cruise that worked for my budget and time when I was available to do one. And when y'all announced this one last year, or whenever it was you announced it, I was like, that's it. That's the one. And I told my boss and my coworker, February 2024, I'm gone. Don't expect me at work. I will be gone these 2 weeks. And here I am.
See, being a part is good. Taking part, joining is always a lot of fun. I know that most of the listeners at home have not been on a DNR cruise yet, and I'm just gonna say, you fuckers are missing out. Like, it is a lot of fun, and you do meet new people, new friends. This cruise in particular, every night that I had dinner with at least 3 to 5 men. No women, but I had a lot of dinners with very attractive men, including some of the men at this table right now, and it was a lot of fun. And you just never know who you're going to meet and what friends you're going to make. And so I agree with Derek on this one. Put yourself out there and allow yourself the opportunity to make new friends, because you get to a certain age in life where it's a lot harder to make new friends. And something like a DNR cruise really gives you an opportunity. You all have something in common. You like either Derek and or Romaine, and so that is key, and that is really what will make you enjoy this adventure. Joe, stop shaking your head back there. I know you like me. I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. So along these lines, Why do you think the DNR family matters so much to people? Because we see it, Derek and I, all the time, as kind of observers of our group. We see these relationships form. We see these friendships form, especially on the cruises. But why does this community matter so much to you? Travi's going to start us off.
I mean, I didn't really get it before I came on the first cruise, but like when I did, it was like just this unapologetic love. Like it was just like you're part of the family now, like whether you like it or not. And it's a little dysfunctional, but I think we put the fun in dysfunction.
Larry?
Living in Los Angeles, I'm mostly around a certain type of gay.
Sure.
Especially going to the bars in West Hollywood. Demon twinks indeed. But on the cruise, I'm meeting people from every walk of life, every type of person, from different parts of the country, different lifestyles. Yet we all have this commonality, not just in Derek and Romaine and our sense of humor, but it really feels like a community of diversity that I don't get just in my neighborhood.
Sure. Yes, Christian.
Well, I'm going to describe a day that I had on the cruise because I think the day is a good example of a lot of what we're talking about. And it was Tuesday after Derek and Laura's interview, late in the morning.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Since we were here at the back of the ship, I wanted to go to the American Diner, which was right above us, I think, or close to us at this end of the ship for lunch. But I knew it was going to be busy, so I said, I'm going to wait a while. And I finally got in line. I was by myself. And Joey was in line, a few people in front of me, and he sat down, and he was by himself. And he said, when he saw me, he said, hey, come sit with me. So I did. And we ended up having like an hour for lunch, but then sat there for like 2 hours talking. And then from there, I went up to the observation deck, and I ran into John and David. And they're like, we're going to 6 tonight. You want to go with us? And I was like, yeah, I'm going. I have tickets for the 7th show. So I'll go and let's sit with them. And then at the show, we ran into Eddie from Tampa, who was sitting right in front of us. And the three of us were going to dinner, like, you want to come to dinner with us? And we did. He did, and we all went out to dinner. And none of that was planned. That's right. It's the day evolved. And it's, again, that concept of saying yes to the opportunities that are put in front of you. And that, to me, was like kind of a perfect day.
Sure. What I find interesting, and then we'll get to you, Joey, in just a second. What I find interesting is there are cruisers who are solo cruisers. And I see them on every trip we go on, and they're always different. But like they're a little bit awkward and they're a little bit quiet, a little bit shy. And this group does not allow that. If you are quiet and shy, that makes them want you to be included all the more, I think. And they will drag you kicking and screaming sometimes into the fray in a really great kind of way.
But if you do want to be alone,
they'll let you. Just take off your lanyard.
Well, that's the studio cabins. We have our own little space.
Right. Yeah.
So just for anybody out there who likes to be alone.
Yeah. Joey.
No, I was just going to say that we have the show in common. So when you're meeting new people, you at least have that initial commonality to discuss that, and then things just proceed from there. It just makes it so much easier to meet people.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because, I can sit down with any listener and be like, oh, so tell me about how you listen to the show. And then, next thing I know, we're into all kinds of different topics, and I'm finding about who you had sex with and what you're into. And sometimes you're propositioning me. I had 2 male listeners on this trip ask me if I'd like to have sex with both of them, and they know who they are. And I might have said, okay. All right, so let's talk about a little bit. I want to talk about the cruise because there have been some shenanigans afoot. I think we've all seen some things and experienced some things, myself included. So I will use myself as an example. I don't usually cut loose on a DNR cruise very often. I barely drink. I'll have like 1 or 2 cocktails a day, if that. But yesterday, Derek had scheduled the karaoke on like day 7, which is a bad idea because I talk a lot in the course of a cruise because I'm talking to all the listeners and having dinner in loud places. And so my voice, those of you know my voice, it's rough today. Well, it was rough yesterday, too, and I had to sing karaoke because there's an expectation that I will sing some songs and belt the shit out of them. And I knew the only way to do that was to go back to the olden days of Romaine and karaoke. So I got real fucking drunk on a lot of tequila. Like a lot. And it started early in the day. I went to a tequila tasting where we had 8 shots of tequila. And then I got right on the ship and went to karaoke where I drank at least 8 shots of tequila. So I was a very happy person yesterday. I might have spent the afternoon with the squad, which is quite the fun group of lesbians on the ship. And I behaved. But I was fun.
You also still sang very well.
Thank you. Tequila does a lot. Really loosens you up. Thank God. So yesterday was a very fun day for me. But I'm curious, what have you guys seen and experienced that maybe was a little unexpected?
At the karaoke, we had a special guest.
Oh. Yes.
And his little friend. Or should I say big friend?
Frank, what was your friend's name? Greg. Yes. So let's talk about Greg. So my friend Frank invited Greg to karaoke because he's a homo on the ship. And we often take in strays, our group does, because we're very friendly. And on this particular sailing, there was a group of Elks from an Elks Lodge in Michigan. That had like 60 homos with them, and so, which is shocking, but super fun group. So they've been coming to events with us, and then there was Greg. So Greg, how do I explain Greg? Greg was wearing a pair of very tight shorty shorts, and he had the button unbuttoned, and he clearly was wearing an enhancing cock ring, and. He got up and he would kind of spread his legs wide and kind of squat a little bit and thrusted his crotch towards the audience. A crotch which was very, very, very pronounced. One of our listeners said that he felt like he was being teabagged in that moment. I have to say I agree. I thought all the lesbians were going to cry. They're like, what is happening? Oh, my God. It was a lot of package, just thrusting at you. It was too much.
But then I believe he enhanced the lyrics of his song a bit.
Yes. I think he said, put 2 fingers in my hole. And I was like, did he just fucking say that? What the fuck is happening?
And that was in Aretha Franklin's Freeway of Love, I believe.
Yeah. Sure was. Now, I don't know what has happened to him since. But he was quite the adventure. And that is something unexpected. That was a very unexpected adventure on the DNR cruise. Anyone else have any unexpected adventures? Trav, did you leave your room for 3 days? Because we lost track of you.
I was napping. God damn it.
Now, was that before or after hanging out with Derek's sister?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you two really bonded.
We did. She brought me onto the ship. I ran into them and I was like, oh my God, are you guys here for the Derek and Romaine cruise? And she goes, I'm his sister. And I was like, work, okay.
Yeah.
We really bonded.
Oh no, I saw you guys at dinner one night. I thought you guys were best girlfriends after that.
We were best girlfriends. We are best girlfriends.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I was like, oh man, she's got a new best friend. Sorry, Fred, you're in trouble. All right, well, we are wrapping up. We are almost out of time. Anything else you guys would like to say to our listeners at home? Anything you'd like to share with them?
Get yourself on a DNR cruise, listeners who have not done it, who have been thinking about it. It's really, it's a whole new way to experience Derek and Romaine, for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely echo that. There are plenty of Derek and Romaine activities. There's plenty of downtime where you can just be by yourself, do your own thing. I actually was hoping for more DNR activities, but I know you guys want your downtime to do your own thing.
Yes, I need my afternoon nap. Thank you.
But it is definitely a fabulous experience, and I can't wait to do it again.
I'll echo exactly what they said. You know, if anybody's in the Facebook DNR Facebook group and you have questions, because I was also first time cruiser period as well as first time DNR cruise, and so you know any of us who are here who are first timers and we're in the group, reach out to us. We'll tell you, you know, because there are moments at the beginning when you're trying to figure out okay who's who and what's what because you don't know anybody, or I didn't.
Right.
But how to turn on the hot water in the shower?
Oh my God.
I still have not mastered that.
No?
No.
Oh, girl.
Well, one other thing y'all need to tell first timers about is how to turn on the fucking lights in those rooms. Turn them off. Turn them off. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Turn them off.
They're complicated.
It was 10 minutes of what? It's 11 o'clock, 11:30 at night. Am I gonna have to call my steward to figure out how to turn my fucking lights off? But no, I eventually figured it out. But you know, reach out to any of us who are first time cruisers and talk to us, and we'll tell you the honesty of our experience because. Yeah, I'm hooked. I'm in. You have.
It only takes one time.
It only takes one time, and I'm in. I'm good. I'm there.
All right. Well, I would like to thank all of my listeners here on the round table. We have Joey, we have Little Larry, Sebastian, Trav, Bridget, and of course Christian from Abilene. You guys have been wonderful. Everyone, put your hands together for these guys. Now, Derek is here. And Derek, we've talked about how amazing the DNR cruises are. Where are the next cruises going?
Why, Romaine, I'm glad you asked that
Thank you.
unprompted question. You can check out all of our upcoming adventures at DNRtravel.com. And a bunch of people have posted photos from this cruise. So if you're on Facebook, look for hashtag DNRtravel, and you'll see pictures from the adventures so you can see what kind of fun people are having. But coming up this fall, we are doing a Bermuda cruise out of New York.
One of my favorite sailings.
Bermuda is a terrific destination because it has a great mix of gorgeous beaches, but also interesting history and architecture, art, great food. It really is a terrific port, and we overnight in that port, so you can go out to dinner in town, explore the nightlife. It's really fun and not feel stressed of,
I gotta get back on the ship.
What time is the ship time? Yeah. What time is it now? Like, I have to get back. Like, that can be very stressful on shore excursions. You don't have that in Bermuda, which is terrific. And then next year, for those of you planning ahead, we are doing our Bear Soup Tampa Perfect Date Cruise. So we'll have a bunch of bears from Tampa with us. That's Valentine's Day weekend of 2025. Tom Goss is going to be on the ship. He and Romaine are going to be performing Islands in the Stream at the karaoke.
We are not going to do that. We are not going to do that.
It's going to happen one day. I believe it.
No,
believe it.
No.
Believe received, Romaine.
No.
We also have Romaine's birthday cruise, a.k.a. the Big Easy. That is sailing March 30th from New Orleans. So if you are worried about joining us on a cruise, but you are interested in meeting the group, New Orleans is a terrific destination. We'll be hanging out there on Friday night and Saturday before we sail. So you can come and hang out, meet the group a bit, hang out at Bourbon Pub. My favorite bartender, David, is there. He'll help us out over serving you all. And it will be a good way to meet people if you're nervous about the cruise. But with the cruise, too, you can come in a day early and really enjoy New Orleans beforehand. It's a terrific town. And that's the Western Caribbean on the Getaway, a terrific ship that is a sister ship of this ship, the Bliss. So it has a lot of great activities and amenities on board. And then in the fall of 2025, October 11th, we are sailing to Hawaii. Aloha, everybody.
It's amazing.
If you have never been to Hawaii, this is actually a terrific way to see Hawaii. The ship ports in and out of Honolulu, and then you go to 4 different islands in Hawaii. So you really do get a taste of everything in Hawaii. It's a wonderful cruise. It is expensive, but it is definitely worth it because Hawaii looks what? Just like Hawaii.
And also, we're doing Hawaii because Maui really has asked for tourism to come back. And so we spent 2 days in Maui on that trip. So it's a great way for us to support their local economy. And it's something Derek and I, we care about that a lot. It's part of why we started doing the Great Smoky Weekend when we go to Dollywood. So, it's important that we support local economies that need the help.
That's right. And then in 2026, for those of you who do not have Hawaii in your budget, we have our Love and Joy cruise, and that will be the same Valentine's Day week in February of 2026. That's sailing out of Cape Canaveral on the Joy, which recently added a spa, which they did not have before, which is great. And that sailing out of Cape Canaveral is a Saturday to Saturday sailing that ends on President's Day weekend. So Derek and Romaine will be hanging out with you at Walt Disney World on the back end of that cruise as well. So again, if people are nervous about, do I really want to spend a week on the ocean with these two? The answer is maybe. Really, people come here and they're like, oh, Derek and Romaine, I don't know how that's going to go. And then they meet other people, and at the end, they're like, Derek and Romaine who?
Derek and Romaine who?
Yeah,
They don't
people
even
don't care about us anyway.
No.
That's fine. It's more time for us to ourselves. But we'll have a great time there as well, and that's in 2026. So we have a lot of terrific options for every price point. There are solo cabins for solo travelers, and I do think a Derek and Romaine cruise is a great experience for solo travelers because there are lots of people to hang out with, people to have dinner with and connect with. So I definitely encourage solo travelers to come and join us. But also we have a lot of couples who are here too. I encourage them to make new friends, meet new people. It's really easy when you're a couple to just hang out with each other, but we have a very great group and there are great opportunities to meet other people as well. So it's fun for everybody.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Derek.
You're welcome, Romaine. You did a wonderful job on the listener panel. Please, everyone, give a round of applause.
Thank you. Well, there's nothing worse than when a cruise comes to an end, and sadly, the show is coming to an end. But I will say this. I always look forward to the next one. I always look forward to seeing who will join us and which friendly faces I get to have dinner with or lunch with or breakfast with. And I want to just say thank you. What? Drinks. A lot of those yesterday. But I would like to say thank you to all of you from Derek and I. It really means a lot to us personally that you guys put your confidence, put your trust in us when we make these plans and we try to come up with the best possible places to take you. And we love that you are here and you support us. It really does mean a lot. Especially after everything that the last 5 or 6 years has put us all through. We are really, really grateful for all of you. So thank you. Thank you to our listeners on the panel. Hopefully we'll see our listeners at home on a future cruise. And with that, I'm just going to say I think it is time to wrap this bitch up. So here we go, bitches. Show's over. Bye, Derek.
Goodbye, Romaine. Goodbye, Romaine.
Can't get enough of the show? Follow them on Twitter at DNR Show or like them on Facebook.
And don't forget to tell your friends to subscribe to DNR 2.0 at DerekandRomaine.com.